to my channel. If we haven't met before, I'm Kari Greger.
Hello there.
I'm so glad you could join me. Today, I'm going to show you an easy way to make a probiotic water, Kefir or Rejuvelac. There's just so many ways to describe this stinky liquid stuff, but it's important for making plant-based cheese. So, let's get into it. We are making a fermented grain water. That's what we need for making cheese. Rejuvelac is a fermented grain water. My husband always teases me that I'm making hooch when I start fermenting this grain water. One of the grains that you can use is oats, but you need to have the full whole oats with the husk on, ready to be sprouted in the field. You can't use groats that has had the husk removed. This grain has to be able to sprout. You can really use any grain that sprouts, but these are the three of my favorites. The second one that I'm going to recommend is quinoa. Quinoa has very small little seeds, and when you buy it from the store in the sack, it is ready to sprout. This grain sprouts very quickly, so when you make Rejuvelac from this grain, you need only 24 hours before you can start brewing. The third grain I'm recommending is wheat berries, whole wheat berries. This is the one that I'm going to use. It's the one that I'm the most familiar with, although we did switch to using oats when I was making cheese so that we could say it was gluten-free. I don't think there's any gluten in it when you use wheat, but it's a possibility. I suppose some gluten could be soaked out of the grain and be in the water, but it would be so minuscule.
This is grain, which any fool can eat, but for which the Lord intended a more divine means of consumption.
Take half a cup of whole wheat berries and rinse them off in water. Just get them kind of cleaned out. Check to see if there's any other seeds that you can see in there. We just want them cleaned up a little bit. Put these wheat berries into a jar. I've got a little bit of room here because I want to be able to do everything in one jar. Then take them and cover them with water and soak them. Top it with a cheesecloth and an elastic band to hold the cheesecloth in place. And just put it on the counter. It has to just soak for at least 12 hours. After it is soaked, we're going to drain off the water and rinse them. So take your strainer and make sure you drain off all of the water and thoroughly rinse the grains under the tap. Make sure you get all of the grain out of the jar and make sure it's all strained. Then rinse the jar out and put the grains back into the jar, moist. They should be nice and moist. And then put the cheesecloth and elastic band back on the top. We're going to get these grains to sprout. It could take up to 3 days. So you just have to check every day and rinse them every day. Put it in a dark place because it needs total darkness to sprout. Next day, rinse them again. Put the cheesecloth back on and it goes back in the cupboard in total darkness. You can do this up to 3 days.
Hang on, Sheldon. What would it take for you to go into that liquor store, buy a bottle of hooch, take me across the street to that motel, and have your way with me?
Why make this rotting grain water? That's easy. Cheese. This fall, we are delving into making semi-firm plant-based cheeses. It's easy to do. There's several steps over a few days, but it's super easy to do. I think it will make great holiday presents for all of your vegan or plant-based people in your life. Just picture it. Healthy, vegan, oil-free cheese and made by hand, by you. It's a very thoughtful and personal holiday treat that you can give away. Remember, when you make it yourself, you have total control over the fat, salt, and sugar. Please give me a thumbs up below, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when another video is posted.
Ah, hungry.
In a nutshell, sir, I thought to myself, a little fermented curd will do the trick.
One day when you take them out and you look, and lo and behold, they have all of these sprouts. Now it's time to rinse them thoroughly again. Look at those lovely sprouts. That's what you want, at least that kind of a growth on it. Clean out the jar again, rinse the sprouts, put them back in the jar. This time, we want to take filtered water. Not just from the tap. We want to make sure it's very clean and filtered. 4 cups of filtered water. Pour that over the grains. Our sprouted wheat berries. Put a clean cheesecloth on it, or cloth of any kind. You just want to be able to have this breathe. And put it back in the dark. This time, we do not do any rinsing or anything for 3 days. So that was day 1, there's day 2, this is day 3. On day 3, if you see, we've got a little bit of bubbling coming up. That means it's ready. You know, just taste it. Taste it and check and see if that's sour enough, you know, before you strain it off. So now we have Rejuvelac. Use your strainer again to strain all the seeds, all the wheat berries out of the liquid. And we have our liquid in the bottom. This is going to stink. Do not be surprised. It smells like rotting grain. It is very stinky. And it can be a little bit bubbly. I've got about 4.5 cups because there was some moisture on the seeds when I put the 4 cups on. So I have myself a quart. Make sure that you label it. I didn't set up the microphone, so I'm not talking you through this. I thought, I'll just do it on voiceover. And I didn't put very much makeup on either. Anyway, labeled and put it in the refrigerator. This will keep for about a month or so. We'll be able to use it to make cheese. The grains are not done. We can get 1 more brew out of them. So I'm putting another 4 cups on. I'll have 2 liters of Rejuvelac by the time this is over. Clean cheesecloth, back into the cupboard, and let it sit for 3 days.
But it was the Egyptians that were the first people to perfect the malt fermentation process.
Yeah, you know a lot about beer.
Rejuvelac. Ugh. Oh, that stuff stinks. It is fermented grain water. And that's the fermentation that you need to make cheese. I pulled some of these out of the freezer. We used to supply about 20 grocery stores with plant-based cheeses. That's how Comfort Food Farms got started. So I've got a smoked cheddar here. We're going to be making this one. I've got sweet baby Swiss. I have a sharp cheddar. I have a hot pepper jack. Oh, you're gonna love this. Swiss, sun-dried tomato basil, and the chili smoked cheddar, which is kind of a fancy looking cheese because it's the smoked cheddar with a chili powder covering over it. I'm gonna walk you through how to make several of these cheeses. So, leave me a comment and subscribe below. Ring the bell so you know when those recipes are coming up. Now, I mentioned the shrink wrapping and the labeling of these cheeses. I'll link those things in the products below, the product links below. Recently, I received my Amazon affiliate status. I get a small commission for qualifying purchases made through Amazon. But it doesn't affect the price you pay in any way. If you purchase something that I've recommended, great. If not, great. You will simply be helping my channel out by using the product links below. Leave me a comment. Next video is going to be Mongolian beef, plant-based Mongolian beef. So while you're down there leaving a comment, click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you will know when that recipe is posted. Thank you for watching.